Hey, Super Cruisers, it's Kevin and Frank from Cruising with Wheels.
And today we're going to talk about cruise industry fun facts and figures.
Do you know all about the world that you travel in? We've got some interesting and fun facts right here.
That's right. Lots of cruise trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know there are more than 50 cruise lines in the world? In the global cruise market, there are over 50 cruise lines and more than 270 ships. And 75% of the market is controlled by three main players: Carnival, Royal Caribbean International, and Norwegian Cruise Line Holding. Now, these leading companies oversee an empire of subsidiary cruise lines, collectively bringing in, I think it was in 2018, they did over $34 billion. 2019, it went down to $27 billion. And then, sorry, but the pandemic hit in 2020, and that plummeted to $3 billion. There's a lot of money out there in cruising.
Now, there are more than 2,000 cruise ports to explore. Cruise Mapper has a database of 2,219 cruise ports, and 587 of these are river ports, while 1,632 are ocean ports. Now, most cruise ports can only accommodate ships of a certain size, and the smaller ones are only accessible by smaller cruise ships. Makes sense, right?
Now, the average cruise duration is 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the average cruise duration is 7 days, and that accounts for about 40% of all cruises, where 27% of cruises are 4 to 6 days in length, and 15% are 8 to 13. 11% are up to 3 days, and 4% are the 14-dayers.
Now, there are 25 new cruise ships that will be delivered this year in 2022. In 2021, almost twice as many new cruise ships were built than in 2020, which is very interesting to me, to be delivered in 2022. The new ships include megaships such as the MS Virtuoso, the MS Seashore, and the Odyssey of the Seas.
Cruises ain't stopping.
No.
Now, this is a fun fact because dating back to 1840, the first cruise ships had cows on board to provide fresh milk. Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
I know, back in July 1840, a fledgling shipping line sailed its first ship, Britannia, out of the docks at Liverpool. Fully equipped with the very latest in catering innovations, the Britannia had with her a cow on board to provide passengers with fresh milk during its 2-week transatlantic voyage. And who was this fledgling ship line? It was Cunard. Fledgling no more.
Fledgling no more. They are the grandpappies.
Yes.
Of the
grand
cruise
dog.
industry. Now, there is an exact replica of the Titanic called Titanic II, which will launch in 2022. In April 2012, billionaire Clive Palmer launched a new company called Blue Star Line. Now, as many people know, the Titanic was the White Star Line. So this is a nod to the company behind the original Titanic vessel. And to create a replica of Titanic, to be named Titanic II, it is set to be the largest passenger ship built in China, which is interesting.
Yes, because
it's
normally...
very, very interesting. Normally it's Italy.
Yes.
At Fincantieri. It's Germany.
Yes.
And the odd France.
Yeah.
The French seem to do some odd things with their ships, as evidenced by the epic cabins. Anyways, the new ocean liner which will reportedly cost about $500 million, will accommodate 2,400 passengers and 900 crew members, the same exact as the original. And when I was reading about this specific thing, you can actually rent wardrobe.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And dress like the people in the 1914 Titanic.
I heard that the iceberg was not invited.
The iceberg was not invited.
Now, the year 2022, this year, we'll also see a biggest cruise ship in the world type of atmosphere. Because in March of this year, Royal Caribbean's new ship, Wonder of the Seas, made her maiden voyage and became the biggest cruise ship ever to set sail. At 236,857 gross tons. That's a big girl.
That's a big ass.
This ship is
That girl's got a big ass.
It's about 4% larger than the previous largest ship, Symphony of the Seas. It just keeps getting bigger. Bigger!
Now, the most expensive cruise ships are Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's Allure of the Seas and the Oasis of the Seas. These virtually identical ships each cost around $1.4 billion when they were built in 2009 and 2010, respectively. While Royal Caribbean's new ship for 2022, the Wonder of the Seas, which we previously discussed, was slightly less expensive to build. Very interesting. That cost $1.3 billion.
I think they brought somebody in, bigger
Cut
ship,
costs.
cut costs, a little less money. Good for you. The world's busiest cruise port, in case you didn't know, is the port of Miami, Florida. The world's busiest port always welcomes up to 5.6 million passengers.
It's crazy.
I know.
It's
With
crazy.
about over 1,200 cruise ships from 22 cruise lines docking at their port. It also welcomes, again, 1,000 cargo ships carrying over 9 million tons of goods for you to purchase at the store.
Now, the next fun fact is all about you guys.
In the wallet.
That's right. That's right. The average cruise passenger spends about $385 in port before boarding a cruise.
Yeah.
Most passengers will arrive at a port city at least one day before they embark on a cruise. During this time, they spend on average $385 per person. Per person.
Yeah, see, now we're not average.
On things like accommodation, food, and transportation. Now, passengers go on to spend on average $100 in each port that they visit during their cruise.
Yeah, the dollar value is right, except that's for both of us, not individually. Now, did you know that
But we're not average.
We're not. We're certainly not, in case you didn't know. Did you know that the average cruise passenger is about 47 years old? Yeah, the average age of a cruise passenger is 47. However, people in their 40s make up to only 15% of cruise passengers. Most cruises have a mix of all ages, from children to people that are retired. Yeah, and there's a lot of statistics out there that really breaks it down. So when people say, are cruises just for older people? No, they're not. It's a multitude, a span of different ages and different percentages. Everybody goes on a cruise. Now, world cruises, though, have the oldest passengers with an average age of the early 60s. This is because there's a few, if any, children on board, and because it's mostly retired people who can go away for 3 months at a time on a world cruise.
Mm-hmm. Now, Caribbean cruises, or if you want to say Caribbean cruises, have the youngest passengers with an average age of 43. This is because of the popularity with families, as well as those under 30 who like to take short party cruises from the United States.
Party hardy.
Now, half of all cruise passengers reside in North America. That's half.
Yeah.
Okay? Around 50% of cruise passengers come from North America, 24% come from Western Europe, and 15% from Asia, and 11% is from all the other different countries in the world.
Elsewhere. Did you know that people from the country of Singapore like to cruise more than any other nation.
Interesting.
Yes, cruising is very popular in Singapore. 6.4% of all Singaporeans taking a cruise in an average year. Other nationalities which also like to cruise are Australians at 5.4%.
Hi, Ozzy John.
Americans, 4%. Hong Kongers, 3.3%. The Brits at 2.8%.
Jamie and Gavin.
Germans, 2.7%. And our friends, the Canadians, 2.6%.
Now, 75% of people use travel agents when they book their cruises. The Cruise Lines International Association, also known as CLIA, recognizes 13,000 travel agencies and 50,000 individual travel agents worldwide. Together, these book 75% of the cruise vacations around the globe.
Right. And I know you've also seen this issue in the news, but the biggest threat to a cruise ship safety is a fire on board.
Well, we've always said that.
Oh, I know. And there's been a few incidents. To ensure that any fire that occurs on a cruise ship can be quickly contained, the average 2,700 passenger cruise ship has 4,000 smoke detectors, 500 fire extinguishers, 5,000 sprinklers, and 6 miles of fire hose and 5 specially trained firefighters on board.
Now, in respect to the cruise ships itself, most cruise ships have jails, hospitals, and morgues on board. Cruise ships need to be prepared for every eventuality that may occur on board. Now, cruise ships, jails, hospitals, and morgues will be found, in most cases, in the lower decks, away from the majority of passengers. Now, depending on the size of the cruise ship, the morgue may hold up to 3 bodies. If more space is needed, food storage freezers can be used in case of that emergency.
Can you imagine? Breaker, 19, move those tomatoes out of the way. Move the tomatoes.
This is your captain speaking. We have a special on tomatoes today up on Lido Deck.
I know. It's sad but true. It happens. Did you also know that you can bring your dog and cat on a cruise? Yeah, Cunard's Queen Mary II is the only cruise ship that allows passengers to bring their pet dogs and cats on board.
Don't get any ideas.
Yes, again.
I'm talking to you. Don't get any ideas.
Pet. This ship has 24 kennels, space to play, and it even has lampposts and fire hydrants for dogs to relieve themselves.
Cute.
Service dogs, such as guide dogs for visually impaired people and hearing dogs for the deaf, are welcome on most cruise ships.
So many of the cruise ships have Alcoholics Anonymous, or also known as AA meetings on board. As cruise ships have an abundance of alcohol on board, people suffering from addiction issues sometimes worry about being able to practice abstinence.
Yeah, tough environment to be in.
And for this reason, many cruise ships have AA meetings or Alcoholics Anonymous meetings on a daily basis. And you'll generally see those in your daily schedule as Friends of Bill W., who is the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, or sometimes they're listed as FOB.
Friends of Bill.
Or they could be listed as AA.
Right, right. Now also, you can join some LGBTQ get-togethers where you can meet like-minded gay cruisers. Now, in the old days of cruising, where I came from, you would see it in the daily cruise schedule as Friends of Dorothy, an homage to Wizard of Oz, gay icon Judy Garland. But, you know, we're in modern times now, and you will just see it listed as LGBTQ get-together.
On occasion, they still do shows up.
Really?
That's
the
last cruise we were on the Encore. It said Friends of Dorothy.
Get it together, people.
Get it together. Now, not all cruise ship weddings are legally recognized. Did y'all know that? That should be a fact.
Yes.
Frank's, did you know that?
Yes.
If you want your cruise ship wedding to count as a legal marriage, you'll need to choose a cruise ship that was registered in the country where the law allows marriages on board a cruise ship, such as P&O Cruises, Cunard, and Princess Cruise Lines, which have ships registered in Bermuda. Now, Celebrity Cruise Lines on ships registered in Malta, and Royal Caribbean on ships that are registered in the Bahamas.
Right. And it's funny because last night we were watching our show on Bravo, Below Deck Sailing Yacht, and they were wanting to do a wedding, and the captain had to marry them. And he was even talking about it was just a symbolic wedding on board the ship, because after that they would have to go to shore and be legally married by a judge, and that was their procedure.
We want to thank you for joining us for another exciting video. And remember, don't just watch our videos. Click that subscribe button and the little bell next to it to get regular notifications of when our videos and when we go live. Also, please click that like button.
Yes.
It helps us get found on YouTube.
And remember, we're also on all the other social media platforms. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
But until next time, we want to remind you all to travel safe
And cruise often.